All right, so speech will start in three, two, one. What does one think about when they talk about renewable energy projects, right? Those renewable energy project is not just a priority from one country. Rather, it is a collaborative work from all countries involved. And our side, our priority is that we prioritize fast, affordable, and also effective renewable energy projects as well. Because here's a couple of questions I would answer in my speech. First of all, how urgent is the problem of renewable project and promoting sustainability, and how the government is potentially losing out on big deals and isolate themselves from basically working domestically and not internationally, and how on our side we can help renewable energy projects work faster. And on side note, I'll also answer how this will actually help local, whether this will actually help local businesses in the long run. Because the point of this debate is to compare which side can help and assess renewable energy projects to work in high productivity and in high demand. Like, what is basically the best solutions to assist those renewable companies? And a couple of clarification before coming to the main clashes in my speech. First of all, the government here in this case have an obligation to decide what exactly is the best way and method when it comes to energy transitions. Because specifically, if we're talking about the issue of renewable energy, one country can't do this alone. And if they want to reach sustainability in the long run, then cooperation and trade is one of the most important factors to determine success when it comes to renewable energy projects. It is important for world leaders to work together to make decisions and decide on the best technology and solutions. Now, what does proposition say in this matter? They say to us that this is not important. Trading and like over reliance on other countries isn't good, and instead countries should try to self develop, should develop by themselves. But we haven't seen clearly on how this will in turn help renewable energy project, which we will tackle this in the clash moving forward. So the first clash is on efficiency and fast demands. Because if our goal basically here is to reduce carbon emission, that is the goal of this debate. The goal of this debate is to decide what is the best solution for those renewable energy projects, and the government is the one who decides. So if the goal is to reduce carbon emission, then the focus should be on using the best technology and not just the local one. And this so what does proposition say in this matter? Propositions say that this will improve carbon input, and like on their side, they can reduce emission, they can be more environmentally friendly. Because let's face the fact that even if we reduce a bit of emission from transportation, let's say, it doesn't even matter if the entire solar farm or wind project or any kind of project is delayed, like our first and second speaker has mentioned. And that delay means what? We're still burning coal and oil for gas for longer, which creates way more emission than shipping parts from overseas. And the real way to actually reduce emission faster is to build renewable energy quickly, and that requires using the best, fastest suppliers, and it's not just the local. And just because something is made locally doesn't necessarily mean it's actually better for the environment overall. So we believe that on our side, we won on the clash on efficiency and fast demand when it comes to the fact of helping and assisting those renewable energy projects, because that's what exactly we need right now. If I need to do my homework fast, if I need to understand this better, I think it's better for me to collaborate with my friends rather than waste my time thinking about this, which will take me hours and hours. And instead, I can ask my friends, learn from them a couple of things or two, and that's exactly fits into this debate. The second clash is on trade and cooperation between countries, because the impact on their side, what exactly is the impact on their side? Foreign investors, basically on their side, are discouraged from entering the market because of the barriers that they see. Because if you're the country, basically what the other side is promoting is self reliance. They say that they will better focus on self development, and like a country is better if they develop by themselves and not relying on other countries too much. The impact of this is that their side is not creating any healthy competitive market at all with innovation and investment from the countries. Instead, the government on their side of the house is basically isolating themselves, and they will basically lose out on a lot of global partnership or valuable global experience from across the world. Before we move on, I'll take that POI really quickly. Okay, but in the beginning, you mentioned really clearly on how it's better for you guys to focus on self development. And even if you don't stop trade, this creates a really complex when it comes to having 50% of part. For example, if you're building a wind turbine, then 50% of this has to be domestically and 50 other percent is internationally, which requires a really long process when it comes to renewable energy. Like again, we said this creates delay. What they say is that they will create self-reliance country and then they will focus on self-development. Like any other development, it will only work best when you're continually seeking for ideas and innovation. And even if as a country, even if you have enough incentives to improve and develop your own energy, it won't work if you don't cooperate with other countries to find the best solution. And that's why there's organizations worldwide that unites countries together to find the best solution. And we don't exactly see how a country working by themselves or a country just try to delay this renewable energy will benefit renewable energy projects altogether. And the final thing we'd like to make sure is on local businesses, because the other side, they talk a lot on how on their side they are able to support local businesses. Let's talk about the short term and long term of supporting local businesses. Because at first glance, yes, everything might seem great, but because they're being supported under the government rules. However, this won't work in the long run, as we have mentioned really clearly. Because let's face the fact that if when companies they are protected by LCRs, they will not try hard to improve because they have this ideology and mindset that they're being protected by the government rules, and like every renewable energy project will support them because they are being protected by LCRs. So this means they'll become lazy and dependent on the government rules. And how this in turn is that, let's take a scenario is that if LCR were to be removed, then they can't simply compete in the global market. And we have mentioned this before. It's really hard because we see what the other side is trying to do. The other side is trying to help local businesses, but in the long run, they're actually not helping them at all because on our side, we're better because we actually want strong and competitive local industry that can survive on their own rather than relying on government rules and relying from support from renewable energy projects. And if this LCR were to be removed, they can't compete in the global market because this is to say they don't have enough incentives to reach world competition. On our side, we're not neglecting local businesses. We still do, but in this case, we believe that the government, as the government, we should prioritize the best solution when it comes to renewable energy project. And on our side, we're better because we're able to prove to you how on our side we're able to speed up the fight against climate change. We're able to help those renewable energy projects to collaborate and work with other countries to work faster, to think of ideas and think of like parts to build specific projects a lot faster rather than being delayed in the process of like a few percentage of domestically components from your own country and the other part which in turn creates a very slow process. Very proud to oppose.